In this video, we'll be factoring trinomials with a leading coefficient larger than 1. So we have a trinomial here, and in the past we've only had a 1 here. The leading coefficient was equal to 1. Now we have leading coefficient larger than 1. So in the first video for the leading coefficient bigger than 1, we used split and group. That was a method that I showed you. This time we're going to use swing and divide. You'll notice similarities, but they are a little different. And as far as my students go, you pick the way that works best, that gives you the most success, and use that. I don't care which one you use. I just want you to be successful. So we are still going to multiply first times last. So that gives me a 20. And I want to multiply to a 20, and I want to add to the 21 as always. So here's what we're going to do. Whenever you identify the first times the last, you're going to rewrite this. And we'll write it like this, 21p plus 20. So you actually write the 20 in the last place. Whatever the first times the last goes to, you rewrite it this way. And now if you look at it, we actually have a trinomial with the leading coefficient of 1 now. This is an implied 1. We know how to factor these. So I'm going to put my x in place here. We want to multiply to a 20. We want to add to 21. We actually did these problems earlier, so our factors of 20 are 1 and 20, 2 and 10, and 4 and 5. And the only one that gives me a 21 out of the combination is that, so it's 1 and 20. And because I want to multiply to a positive number, they both get the sign of this one. They have to be the same, so that it's plus and plus. So this part right here, this part factors to, just like last time, our last class, p plus 1, p plus 20. Now that's the swing part. This was called swing and, don't forget the and, divide. So we swung the 4 over. That's where the swing part of the name comes from. Now we have to divide by it. So whatever number you swing over, in this case a 4, you have to divide this part right here by it. So divide by 4, divide by 4. So you can start skipping some of these steps later, but we're not going to for now. So I have now p plus 1/4, and p plus 20 divided by 4 is 5. So now I have this. The rule is you don't want a fraction here. So if the fraction is already reduced, all you have to do is swing this number up in front of that p right there, and that would give me a 4p plus 1, and then p plus 5. And that is the final answer right there. So swing and divide. Now, the reason that works is, look, if I have p plus 1/4, if I multiply the whole parentheses by 4, that gives me 4p there, and this 4 cancels with that 4, so I end with 4p plus 1. That's how that works, but the little shortcut is just take that denominator and move it right there in front of that variable. So final answer, 4p plus 1 and p plus 5. If you watched the last video where we did split and group, we got the same answer. So either way works. Let's do another one. Okay, another example. You'll notice these are the same examples we used when we did split and group before. So we still multiply first times last. So that would be a 36. So I want to multiply to a 36, and I'm going to add always to this middle number. So I rewrite this with a leading coefficient of 1, and my multiply was a 36, so plus 36 here. So now I'm factoring this with a leading coefficient equal to 1 here, just like we've done in the past. So I draw my little x here, and we want to identify the numbers. So my factors of 36, 1 and 36. That gives me 37 or 35 as a combination through add and subtract. So that's not it. Next combination would be 2 and 18. That gives me a 16 or a 20 right here. That won't work. 3 and 12. Okay, this could be it. 3 and 12. That would multiply to 36, and if I put my signs in right, that'd give me a 15. So maybe this is it. Let's keep going. So 4 and 9, and 6 and 6. So the only one that'll give me a 15 in combination, this would give me 13 or 5, and this would give me 12 or 0. So it's not these. It's got to be the 3 and the 12. Now apply the signs. They both have to be the same because I want to multiply to a positive. The two signs must be the same. And because this one is a negative, they both get that sign, negative, negative. If this is positive, they both get this sign. That's our little shortcut rule. So this part, initially, for the swing part, it factors to p minus 3, p minus 12. Now, the method is called swing swing and divide. So we've swung over that 4. Now we have to divide by that 4. We have to divide by it now. So I divide this by 4, divide this by 4. So I get P minus 3/4, and P minus 12 over 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3, so 3. Our little shortcut rule said if you have a denominator here and this won't reduce anymore, swing that 4 up right there. So final answer, 4P subtract 3 and P minus 3. So that is our fully factored version of this trinomial right here. Alright, last example for this video. Again, these are the same examples we did in a previous video where we used split and group to factor these. So we have a trinomial, the leading coefficient's bigger than 1. So we are practicing this method, swing and divide. So that's what we're going to do. So we swing this number over here, multiply it. So 4 times negative 15 is negative 60. And we want to add to a 4, this middle number right here. So I rewrite this with a leading coefficient of 1, m squared plus 4m subtract 60, replacing this number in place of this. So now I factor this like I normally would, leading coefficients equal to 1, so I want the two numbers that would multiply to a negative 60 and add to a 4. And I know it's going to be in this format. This. So now I need to identify the factors of 60. So I have 1 and 60. I have 2 and 30. I have 3 and 20. I have 4 and 15. I have 5 and 12, 6 and 10, and that's it. So the only combination that would give me a 4 would be these two right here, 6 and 10. All of these others won't give me the 4 in combination, so those are not it. It's got to be the 6 and 10. Now, we discussed, if this is a negative that we multiply by, the signs of these two have to be opposite, and the bigger of the two get whatever sign this is. So it would be a plus 10, subtract 6. So subtract 6, add 10. That part's done. So the swing part is done. Now I have to divide. I swung the 4 over in the beginning, so I have to divide by it now. Now if you notice, both of these fractions will reduce. So in our next step, we're going to reduce those. So m subtract 6/4 will reduce to 3/2. 10/4 will reduce to 5/2. Now you do the rule that we discussed before, and the 2's are going to swing up in the front. So 2m subtract 3 and 2m add 5. So fully factored, 4m squared plus 4m minus 15 factors 2, 2m minus 3 as a factor, and 2m plus 5 as a factor. So that's it for this video. Again, this was swing and divide. I've also in a previous video showed you split and group. I don't care how you do it. I just want you to get the correct answers.